I am Scallops Timelines, and this is the episode 28 and a half of Norindus. I am calling this 28 and a half instead of 29 because this is more like an extension to the episode 28. I gave you there the two examples on how I am going to finalize my farms and forests. I then told you that you could track my progress in my Patreon page for absolutely free. You have been able to do that. But now I decided to actually release all of that footage compressed into this one 15 minutes. No, it's actually less, 12 minutes episode or so. So, yep. It took quite a long time to make this happen, so I just wanted to show you something in here in YouTube as well. I mean, the next episode, which is naming, and I'm going to name a whole bunch of things, is going to take probably at least as long time as this took. So waiting for another Norindus episode, half a year, would be quite a lot. So I decided to just show it also in here and give some sort of voiceover. Right, let's get into it. I think you have already noticed that I have been using two mods. First, there is the Move It mod. I actually started with the forest finalising, planting one tree at a time somewhere and then copy pasting it. But then I figured that it would probably be much easier if there is a forest brush, and there is. So I decided to load the forest brush mod. Now that doesn't, it only made my life a bit easier. It doesn't make this build by any means impossible to do in vanilla. It just makes it easier and a lot faster. And just excuse me, but I hit a prop limit eventually, and also there is like 3 million trees, so yeah. I hope you understand why I didn't want to do that all one tree at a time. But yeah, for the forest brush, I decided to create a couple of brushes, obviously. And the basic idea is that there is something for spruce forests, which is the main species of tree in here where I live and in there as well. and then in Norindus as well. And then also one for the pine and something for the leaf, and then obviously some mixed ones, as you need that sort of intermediate versions as well. But also I wanted to have those kind of that have the sort of a different growth phase. So there are the tall conifers, which are the tall spruces, and then there are the mid versions and then the small ones and so on. So if there is let's say a fresh woodlot, or not fresh, but something that has grown like 10 years or something, those would be the small ones. So just for that, I need a couple of versions of different species, if you will. The main rule, how I actually decided that what species goes to where, is that basically the more dry the place is, the more the more there would be pines, and the more wet it is, the more there would be leaf trees, and spruces is basically everywhere else. I think I actually talked about this in the episode 28, oil places where there is some natural resources, and this is because the land looks actually different in there. In the oil places, there it would be also leaf trees for the ore, and obviously deep slopes would be then pine, and the rest is basically just spruce or mixed or something like that. So yeah, I would also have added the stones and rocks and stuff, but like I said, I hit the prop limits, so that wasn't possible, and the same thing goes for the freshwood lots. The vegetation is actually considered as props, so I couldn't do that either. But yeah, actually you just saw another thing about when I went for the farms. I started to do, if you do remember, I used to mark these different fields with the with decals, and just to give them a different color, so that some of the fields have different color than the others, so that it looks like that they are growing a different things over there. But I started with first I placed them one decal at a time, and then copy pasted with Move It Mod, and it actually worked there in the first farm. But when I tried to copy it then and move to more periphery, it seemed like that the Move It Mod didn't work over there. I mean, the peripheral tiles out of all 81 tiles are non-functional for the gameplay. I didn't know that they would be non-functional for the for any mod, but anyway, it seemed like it is. So I then just decided to do it one decal at a time. However it is, I later on noticed, when I had actually done almost all of the peripheral farms, planting those decals in there, I decided to see that if that farm is close enough for the functioning tiles, so that I could use the Move It mod again and start copy pasting things. It didn't work out over there, but I noticed that, wait a minute, there is a growable residential house, so it should actually work. But I was like, well, okay, it apparently doesn't. But then I accidentally pressed the button, and all of the decals that I had copied appeared. So it's just that the blue circles in there that marks that, okay, there is something copied in there, they disappear, but it would still be able to copy things on. Yeah. So I wasted a ton of time with the periphery by planting one decal at a time to just make it look good, when actually I could have just done that with the Move It mod anyway. But it turns out that it was even more of a waste of time, since I hit prop limits, and as you can probably pretty soon can see, I had to actually take every single decal. I took it with Move It mod, but anyway, I took all the decals out of the periphery, and so I could actually have those decals in the functioning tiles, in the more important areas, if you will. So that was that. So quite a pain in the ass. Anyway, it actually looks pretty good, to be honest. It definitely makes the farms come alive. What I then made after I had copied all the decals and I hit the prop limit and couldn't do it anymore, I then just added some fences, and I also made this another brush for the forest brush. That is the meadow, because I realized that, okay, not every farm or every field in every farm ever is all the time cultivated or in use, so to speak. So some of them are just functioning as meadows. So I decided to add that one as well and have some of the fields as meadows, and I think that actually looks absolutely brilliant. That is definitely one of the best additions for this thing. I then also added them into periphery, just to make them look a bit a bit better, and not just that there is the open place that is divided into supposed fields. So just to add some variety, since they couldn't have the decals, just to add some variety, I decided to make some of them into meadows, and even some of the entire farms I actually meadowed them. They wouldn't have anybody living in there. I mean, in this part of world where I am living, there are actually quite a lot of sort of dead farms, so to speak, so who doesn't have anybody taking care of them, taking care of the farms. But quite a lot of them are something that somebody owns somewhere and then rents them for a more active farmer. So most of them would be rented, but then there are some fields that aren't rented and aren't taken care of at all. So yeah, that's that. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe and stuff.